Hey everyone, pardon the mess. It's kind of messy up here, but yeah. No, it's been about 2 weeks since I've done a video. I've been just so busy with my new job, working double overtime, 16-hour days sometimes. Haven't really had time to put on any videos, but I made this little effect pedal a couple days ago and I want to show this off to you. So what this is a prototype. That's why it's so hideous and has its prototype burned right into it, as you can tell. But what this is a Fab chorus pedal, Dan Electro Fab, the cheapest of the cheap, cheaper than even Behringer pedals. I got this for like $9 or cheaper. They gave me a discount because I bought like 8 of them or 10 of them, I don't know. I bought them for another project, but I decided, you know what, let me just mod one of them, because why not, and see what I can get out of it. Now with my first mod, I want to say, okay, you know, there's 2 circuit boards on this. Let's see exactly what I can get from just the top circuit board. And on my next prototype, I'm going to fumble around with the bottom board and see if we can get any more cool things out of it. So there really was no room. The sides really don't allow for switches. They're very cram-packed. I mean, maybe I could get it in there, but it's very packed. I called this the Distortus, even though it's more of like an overdrive than a distortion, but that name just came to me, like chorus, distortion, Distortus. So what do the mods do? We have this little switch that adds in kind of like a filter. Now the filter sadly could not be changed with a knob. I tried various knob ratings, you know, like 50K, 100K, 2K, 25K. None of them actually did anything besides turning it on and off. So I'm like, okay, it can't actually be used as in, like, for lack of a better term, an active filter. It's just a passive filter that has one setting. So that's a switch. Then we have right here a kind of like an overdrive, but it hollows out the sound a little bit. The best way I can describe it, I'll have to show you. And then here, this switch, which I used a 50K resistor. Maybe one that was slightly smaller or slightly bigger would have been better. Maybe like a 40K or a 60K. Those are kind of odd numbers. They might be hard to find, and I don't have those. But 50K did the job. And this is an odd switch, as in it actually has completely off mode, and you have to click it. I don't know if you heard that. Turn it on. Whoa. So when you turn it on, for a little part of the way you hear nothing, then it increases very, very, very slowly until it kind of jumps up a lot, and it's just like a boost. It's a boost, 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 and then till you're almost there, you get a slight overdrive, and then you're keeping the chorus tones the whole way, but once you get to the almost very top, it loses the chorus, and then when you get to the very, very top, it's like a diet distortion, kind of more of like an overdrive still, but I've tested it with various different sounds. I found that it sounds best with 303 type sounds. I mean, this guy can't really make a 303 sound, but the overdrive on this sounds really good with that type of sound. So when I do get a TD3 clone, which I do plan on getting soon, I'm going to do that as my Christmas present to myself. This is a TD3. When I get that, I'm going to test this pedal with it, see how it sounds. And I do plan on doing a better looking prototype too, with more mods if I can. And this thing is all surface mount technology, so modding it, you got to be extra careful, and you can mess it up. Plus, it just takes more time to work with surface mount. For me personally, you might be good at it. But this does still retain the battery functionality, and it still does retain the standard use when these are not engaged. It does not affect that. The only thing being, this passive overdrive turns off the chorus, turns off the pedal, This one only turns it off when it's almost at its highest point, and this filter does not turn it off. But you can use all three of these for, I mean, when the pedal's not on or when it's off. I mean, either way, they actually work. So even if you have the pedal off, it'll still work. But it does have to be plugged in. Dan Electro pedals do have to be plugged in to work. So let's do a little test. Now I will do another test when I actually do get that 303 to show you. I'm going to do various overdrive and distortion pedals with it and see what we like the best. But for now I'm just going to use a basic tone on here. Let's open that filter a little bit. If you watched my patch bank video, this is the patch 1 called Mono Lead. You can download this patch along with 43 other patches that I've put out so far for this. I do plan on releasing a full 100 bank of patches for this for free, coming sometime next year. I've been working on patches slowly. It hasn't been a main focus, so I only have about 60 done. But I will say the newer patches are even better than some of the old ones because I've spent more time on them. So, we've talked a lot. Let's actually hear what this thing sounds like. I'll put a timestamp if you don't care anything about what I'm saying to skip to all of this. So first let's do a normal sound with no effects on, no nothing. Now I'm going to play the same basic sequence the whole time. I'm not going to change it up because I don't want to confuse you on the tone. So we're going to, just for the purpose of this demo, we will play one sequence. When I do the TD3 demo with my various pedals, I will do different sequences on that. But for here, I'm going to keep it simple. Okay, that's with no effects. Now let's hear our chorus stand at a relatively high position, but not too high. Let's see here. Let's dial in that speed. On. Off. Alright, so now, while having it off, let's try the mods. The filter. Now, there is a cool dynamic that filter will do once we turn on the chorus, and I will be showing you that soon. Now the passive distortion. Alright. Well, it's kind of like a weird boost. It's a boost that kind of hollows out the sound. It boosts the higher frequencies just a little bit and scoops out some of the lower ones. So I'm not really a big fan of that mode, but it's there anyways. This is just a prototype. Now our last but not least guy, I'm going to play one note and slowly dial it in. Notice how we're seriously boosting it. I can't tell if that correlates across to you guys, but let's see. Notice that very narrow window right there where it jumps way up. Alright, we're at our very top. Now notice we can hear some what I like to call boiling electronics. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but it's like listening to a teapot boil in the distance. I've heard this with certain pedals that get modded. I don't know what it is exactly. If you know what it is, please comment in the comment section. So let's play that little sequence. I'm not a good player, as you can tell. So that was that. Now let's turn our pedal on. Now I want you to notice this. Now this is kind of crazy. Now listen to this sound. Now listen when I turn this on. I might turn this up a little bit just for this part. Alright, now listen. Now notice how it filters out some sounds, but some of the bands of sound are still coming through more clearly. So you're hearing this weird buzzing in the background that you normally wouldn't hear in the actual sound. And that kind of correlates to the actual chorus in there. Now watch. When we just dial down the filter on here, you're going to notice you won't hear that. Now see how that filters everything? And it all sounds, you know, muted or muffled, however you want to say it. But now notice when we do this instead. Notice how part of the band is getting filtered, but part of the band is not getting filtered, which gives us an interesting effect. Now, I am a noob at this kind of stuff, and I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm kind of pulling a lot of this out of my butt, but I kind of got an idea about some things at least. So, why this is, feel free to comment. I do not know, but it's interesting nonetheless. We can dial that speed down a little bit. Dial the depth a little bit. We can combine the cutoffs as well. Sorry, my key playing is loud. Now let's do that with the thing off. Now let's combine the filter and turn up the distortion. I saved this part for last because it really cuts through in such a weird way. Listen to this. It's pretty loud. Let's turn this down a little bit. Now let's add in our normal filter, or filter built into the synth. I don't know why I said normal filter. Enough of that patch. Now let's do my my horrible 303. Trying to mimic 303. I mean, I don't get all of the characteristics, but it's basically there. You can tell what it's trying to be, even though it's nowhere near a 303. It's kind of there a little bit, you know. Let's get to that real quick. Now, what's weird about it is when you hold down a key, but I found that works better in the sequencer when it automatically plays like that while holding a key. You can't actually play the keys on this patch, sadly, because if you do, it's just, you know, it's just choppy. It doesn't work right. See? So, but when we do the sequence, it works with the sequencer. See, it's not that good. But let's add in our distortion, right? Let's try this weak one first. Okay, it's a little bit better. Not really, though. Let's try this one. Pretty interesting, right? I thought it was pretty interesting. Now, I know this is nowhere near a 303, but let's dial in that little filter and see what happens. Pretty simple patch. When I actually test this with the TD3, I will be using it line in. I just wanted to do a quick demo, get this out there, because I just don't have time to set everything up to make a video real quick. But I just want to get you this little thing just to show you I am still making videos, and there's a cool one that's going to be coming out once I do buy that TD3. I hope to order that soon. I'm just waiting for my next paycheck, then I'm ordering that TD3. So, yeah. I hope you liked this video. It's pretty interesting. Maybe. I hope you liked it. When we test this directly line in, it will be only with the TD3. It's not going to be with this guy again. But I might test this with other synths later. But look forward to seeing this. You know what we didn't do? We didn't actually add the chorus in there. Let's try that. And now let's add some chorus.